Welcome back. I'm with Federal Reserve Board Governor Stephen Miran. And so I guess where you go after, because your term is up at the end of January, right?
Yeah, so the term that I was confirmed for expires at the end of January. What happens to me after that, is anyone's guess. It'll depend on a couple things. It'll depend on how many seats are available on the Federal Reserve Board and what the president decides to do. If there's an open seat for me, the president may decide that he wants me to stay where I am, and if there's not an open seat for me, then I will figure out what's next.
Yeah, but I think you have been an integral part. Your work before President Trump was elected was phenomenal. I read it. A lot of people read it. So everyone's thrilled that you, Bessent, and a few others, you make up a sort of a murderer's row, the old Yankees dream team. So don't go wherever you go. Stay in the mix. But I want to ask about some new developments, right? For instance, the role of crypto, particularly stablecoin. A lot of people saying, hey, maybe this with the blockchain may be a way for the government to find a way to help us attack our debt issue.
Yeah, so I gave a speech on stablecoins about a month ago, and one thing that I did was I compared it to the global savings glut that former Federal Reserve Chairman Ben Bernanke talked about 20, 25 years ago. And what happened in the global savings glut was that these predominantly Asian countries were recycling their very large trade surpluses into the United States, right? And so rather than allowing their currencies to appreciate, they intervened in the currency markets, and with that intervention, they went out and they bought, U.S. dollar, treasury securities, agency securities, in order to keep the values of their currencies low. But this inflow into the U.S. dollar markets really had a strong effect keeping interest rates in the United States reduced. Now, stablecoins may ultimately have a similar effect because if you think about it, Genius Act payment stablecoins, as currently stipulated, they don't offer yield and they don't offer deposit insurance. So therefore, the advantage of a stablecoin if you're a U.S.-based investor or you're in a country with free and open capital markets that you can get access to U.S. dollar savings vehicles like a money market fund or a treasury bill or a bank account. The advantage of stablecoins is, it's not huge, right? It's roughly comparable to those vehicles. But if you're in a country with capital controls, you can't get access to dollar savings vehicles no matter what. Or you're in a country with very limited banking services because you're very rural and far from an ability to actually get banked, then stablecoins offer potentially a very powerful advantage. They give you access to dollar savings vehicles that you wouldn't otherwise have because either reasons of geography or because the state is keeping you from doing so. So given that, I expect most of the growth in stablecoins to come from abroad, right? It'll be partial, it'll be very significant inflows, if the forecasts prove accurate, into dollar savings vehicles that are ultimately backed by treasury bills, backed by bank reserves, backed by means of saving, really low volatility means of savings in U.S. dollar vehicles. It'll be flows into that from the rest of the world. And that's why it'll mimic the effects of the global savings glut that we had 20, 25 years ago. Now, the numbers that I put in that speech are that it could be about a third of the size of the global savings glut. So that could be a material downward pressure on interest rates as a result.
That's huge. Before I let you go and speaking of lower interest rates, the affordability crisis, how much will the big, beautiful bill, as it's unleashed in 2026, be able to bring that, moderate these prices?
Yeah, so I'm a believer in the power of supply-side incentives to make the economy grow in a non-inflationary way, and so I'm very heartened by some of the incentives in the tax legislation, things like the full expensing, which are going to be very powerful investment incentives, very powerful incentives to accumulate additional capital and increase labor productivity in ways that would raise wages in non-inflationary ways, like we were talking about before. Right. I'm a very big, powerful believer in that. But there's so much that goes into the overall economic outlook, and I think that the tax legislation is going to be a big part of it. But there's other levers that are going to be in play as well. We've got some at the Fed to help improve affordability through our management of stable prices and maximum employment. But there's lots going on into that recipe.
Stephen, thank you very, very much. We covered a lot.
Thank you for having me.